I recently made videos about both the Sebo E3 and the Shark Apex. During both, I mentioned what it takes to maintain them. If you haven't watched those videos, check out the links in the upper right. Because I needed to clean both the Shark and the power nozzle off my personal E3, I thought it would be a great opportunity to not only show how to maintain your Sebo, but also why it was, in my opinion, easier to maintain than a bagless machine. We'll start with the Sebo E3 and set a timer so we can determine how much time an average user can expect to spend maintaining their machine. As mentioned, this is the ET1 power nozzle of my personal vacuum at home. My wife has long, thick hair, and now my daughter does as well, so hair wrapping is always something that I need to watch out for, as you can see. I do this kind of cleaning about every 4 to 6 months, so it's certainly not a super regular thing. The nice thing about the Sebo ET1 is you can easily access the Brushroll without tools. Simply push down the labeled button and twist the end cap counterclockwise. It really is that easy. Now rock the Brushroll from side to side while gently pulling it, and it will release from the housing. Now we will look at the easiest way to remove the hair. My first and favorite option is a little hook tool that you can pick up at any hardware store. But barring that, you can also use a utility knife and your fingers. And no, I didn't say to use the utility knife on your fingers. Now would be a good time to remind you, always cut away from yourself. Now let's speed things up a little bit while we clean. Don't worry, the timer will stay accurate. While I'm doing this, you might be asking, isn't this an argument against Sebo since the Shark cleans its own Brushroll? Well, we're talking about total effort to maintain the vacuum. There is no perfect vacuum, and there is always a trade-off. We'll see what the Shark's trade-off is shortly. Before you reinstall the end cap, make sure it is free of hair and dirt. I like to add one single tiny drop of oil, literally only one, of Teflon-infused silicone oil to the bushing to cut down on friction and wear. When you're done, reinsert the Brushroll with the metal bushing post facing toward you. Put the end cap back on about 1/8 of a turn from its closed position. Once it's fully on the Brushroll, press the end cap in the clockwise position until it locks. Now let's look at the E3 canister. There are two things you need to check. The first is the bag. Find the lever to open the bag door and open it until it stays locked in its uppermost position. To change the bag, first use the convenient cover to make sure the inlet hole is closed so no dust exits back into the room. It's super clean and super convenient. Place your hand at the top of the green plastic and pull forward and up. Now check the filter at the back of the bag compartment. If it is clean, and it usually is since the bag does such a great job of filtering, you may leave it. If you need to remove it to brush it off, you may do so by pulling the green plastic handle at the bottom of the filter. You'll probably notice how clean the bag compartment is with very little dust buildup. This is thanks to how well non-woven polypropylene bags filter. This saves your other filters and the vacuum's motor from dust. It's cleaner, lasts longer, and is more convenient. To reinsert the bag, make sure that the metal spring is positioned through the hole at the bottom of the bag collar. If you do not do this, the bag is not installed properly and the door will not close. Also, make sure that the bag is not resting anywhere along the gasket that seals the edges of the bag door. Now, I have 3 kids and 2 dogs, and they make a mess of everything. I go through a bag every 1 month to 2 months in my E3 because of the way that the dirt is compacted in the bag. So this is a fairly infrequent maintenance step. I recommend replacing this after every 2 to 3 packages of bags. This comes out to every 16 to 24 bags. On the bottom of the machine, find the 2 release tabs on the door and push them together to release. Now push together the 2 red tabs on the filter and pull to remove it. Inspect the inside of the filter. If it needs to be replaced, it will have turned anywhere from a dark gray to black. To reinsert, push the excess filter up into the gap in the machine's body. Now push the rubber gasketed inlet back into place until the red clips snap. Reinstall the door, and you're all done. Now most of the time, you will only be cleaning the brush roll or changing the bag. As you can see, it's a quick and easy process, and it doesn't take much time at all. Now, what do you need to do with the Shark? In my opinion, even though you do not need to clean off the brush roll on Sharks as often as on a Sebo because it's equipped with 0M, there's a lot of work involved in cleaning the filters. I used this vacuum for a month and the filters are already looking pretty bad. Even though Shark says to wash the filters every 3 months, based on my usage, I would recommend monthly if you live in a demanding environment. You can see how dingy these filters are after that short time because they're dealing with the fine dust the bag would usually catch on the Sebo. You can see that simply rinsing them doesn't do anything, so we need to add a little bit of soap and some elbow grease. You will need to knead the filter almost like dough to get all of the soap in and the dirt out. Here, I'll show you. Make sure you thoroughly rinse all the soap out of the filters. Look how dirty all that water is. It's gross. Here's a step that many people do not take, but you really should. Look at how dirty that dust cup is. The fine dust and dirt in here will make your vacuum continue to smell musty and continue to build up bacteria, so you should really wash it out when you wash the filters, so about once a month. Make sure you use running water, do not submerge the lid. Also, if you have a Dyson, this tip has become a lot more complicated. I'll address Dyson dust cups in another video, but for the time being, don't wash them yourselves. Once everything has been washed, make sure to let all of the parts sit and dry for at least 24 hours in a well-ventilated area. Otherwise, you'll run the risk of pulling leftover water into the motor, which is not good for your vacuum. Notice how the body of the Shark, where the filters and dust cup sits, it's also pretty dirty. I like to vacuum this area out. If you don't have a spare vacuum to do this with, you can always just wipe it out with a barely damp microfiber cloth, like the House of Vacuum's Microbe Crusher silver infused cloths. So there you have it, maintaining a Sebo versus a Shark, or really, Bag versus Bagless. They honestly took about the same amount of time to complete a total check by the owner. In my opinion, time being equal, I would rather clean off the Brushroll than wash the filters. The filters and that fine dust are just gross, messy, and you can't use your vacuum for at least 24 hours afterwards because of the damp filters. That's just my preference, and yours may differ, but I try to stay away from fine dust and turning into mud as much as I can. What are your thoughts? Do you maintain your bagless vacuum like you should? If you don't, have you noticed a drop in performance or lingering odors in your vacuum? Let me know in the comments. As an aside, I make a lot of money off of Shark repair, so please, everyone, continue to buy Sharks. If you don't want to do that, definitely buy a Dyson. Sebos don't turn into the repeat repair revenue that I like. The more crummy vacuums you buy, the more repairs come my way, so yeah, definitely buy something expensive and unreliable. Of course, if you have any questions about a good vacuum, please feel free to pop a question in the comments or contact us by going to thehouseofvacs.com. I will see you next time.